Jammers, welcome back to my living, where we're making a living off living. Thank you guys so much for subscribing and joining the jam. I see you, I feel you, I loves it. Today is a day where, I don't even know where to start with this video. It's not like it's a little bit of a different video. It's personal, it's coming from personal experience, but it's also something that I feel is so general and so real for the specific energies that are going on right now, which is the new moon has just been in Virgo. Today is the 11th of September. And there's a lot of different planetary movements that affect us differently. Of course, again, we are beings on a planet within a solar system orbiting around the sun, the star, and so the movements affect, they're relative to each other, so it affects us as beings on one of those planets. Nonetheless, there's a lot of clearing, I feel personally, and a lot of, for me, focus, and I feel like the energy I'm feeling is like I'm not playing games. Like, I'm not here to play games. I'm not here, of course, I'm here to enjoy myself and to have my truest, most authentic, and in that authenticity, the happiest. Like, I feel like when you are truly authentically yourself, that's when you magnetize people that you laugh, deep laughings with, where you feel like your stomach is hurting, and where you meet someone and you guys can talk about your experiences and cry together, and where it's just authentic. And I've had one person in my life for a time, and then we didn't communicate for a while, and then we communicated again. And I feel like as people, as beings, all we can do is our best. And it's so trippy to have this human experience and to have a knowing of the spiritual aspect of yourself that goes so much deeper and is so, like, the spiritual aspect of myself is so in charge. It's so, like, it doesn't take away from the human experience, it enriches it. And so for me, when it comes to connections and stuff, I have a video about why I'm not getting married, and even about the monogamy video, are all women monogamous? It's like, I feel this with all relations, all connections, where the people you have around you should be around you because they uplift you, because they inspire you, because you feel good around them. That doesn't mean every second of every day of every time you spend time together or every time you talk together, but the energy does not lie. If you're communicating with someone and something comes up and you feel something is off more than like 4 times, then the energy is telling you something. The expectation we have of connections and of friendships and of relationships, that I love you today, so that means I'm gonna be with you forever, for me doesn't resonate. And again, people are different, and this also goes back to your design. You can find a lot of things out through human design, what is natural for you and the energy that moves through you. And I'm just one of those people that, if I'm around you, if I'm in your life, it's because we're good for each other. We're energetically compatible in this moment in time. And that doesn't mean that that's gonna last forever, because energy, everything moves always, everything changes. And it's about, for me at least, learning not to take it personal. And it's sad, because I have this person in my life that I really love and I really care for, and I was holding on to that connection and friendship because I didn't want the person to feel like I cared about them any less or I loved them any less, because that's not the case. The only thing is, and it's trippy to explain without bringing in the fact that we are spiritual beings, and that some place within the source of it all, within the stillness of it all, within that place that all of this exists within, that's where we are all connected, and in that space we're all together. And it takes a certain attention to get to that space, to get to the perception of that space. Spirituality, like with everything, you have to warm up to it. It's like you can't just say, okay, today I'm gonna win this marathon, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna win. You have to warm up to it. You have to give it your time, you have to give it space, you have to give it your attention, and you have to be motivated, inspired. And it takes, like I say, attention. Attention is such a high currency, and it's so valuable. And no matter where you are on your journey, it doesn't make you more or less valuable. It's just we all have different fits for the puzzle of what life is. So like, I wanted to make this video because I'm feeling like a lot of people are going to experience new connections and also release of old connections. And in that, for me, I feel like the best thing to do is not to have any expectations to anything. Like, you have your values and what vibes with you. I feel like the energy doesn't lie, you know? The energy will let you know who is supposed to be or who is good for you. How do you feel around this person? How do you feel when you're connecting with this person? And as an empath, if you're an empath watching this, a lot of people that you're connected to are connected to you because you make them feel good. And especially if you have the 5 in human design, there's something called like projector, manifesting generator, and then you can have 5-1. I'll talk more about this in the future, but if you know about it and you have 5-1 or 1-5 or anything with 5, the heretic, basically that means people are going to project their ideals onto you, and if you don't live up to them, then you suddenly you go from being their hero to being their enemy and being their like demon almost. And that's what I just experienced. Like, this person knows how much I care about them. They know how much I love them, and they know how much I've done for them. And it's not about saying that I'm doing this for you, or I'm doing it because I care. I'm doing it because I love you. But at the same time, you can't hold on to something. Like, you'll drown trying to hold on to someone who's drowning. You can't help someone who's not willing to help themselves, and you can't force a connection if it's not there. And it sucks. Like, it sucks. Like, why can't we all just get along, you know? But that's part of the journey. It's about learning to release. It's about learning to know what you to set a kind of standard for what kind of energy you want in your life, for who you are. What do you represent? Who are you? What do you want to do with your time? Do you want to spend all your time focusing on this one person, trying to help out that one person? Meanwhile, you feel like you're letting go of yourself because you're not giving yourself the time or the space to do the things you love because you're busy trying to lift this other person up? No. Like, we're all on our individual journeys, and it's not fair to try and make someone be in your life just because you want them in your life. And again, from a human perspective, yeah, everything sounds different depending on which perspective you are at. I feel like there's let's say this is the low where you are the devil, and then up here you're God. Like here you're just taking, you don't care about anything. You're you can hurt someone, even kill someone, you don't care. And then up here it's all one love, and it's all the God, it's the power. You have the power to create, and you know that you don't need to take anything because you are the creator of it all. And here you feel like you have to take because you feel like this lack mentality, this victim mentality. And then it goes, here is like the center, and then it goes up and it goes down. There's different like levels of experiencing life, of perceiving life. And I personally feel like, let's say there's one person here, one person here. When you are, let's say you're up here, in terms of how you perceive yourself, the power that you perceive that you have. You don't perceive yourself as a victim. You don't perceive yourself as life happens to you. You see yourself as the creator, a aspect of the creator, aspect of creation, and you recognize that you have a certain power, an ability to affect your life, and you take that responsibility. And also, I love this Vasumi on YouTube that I've talked about from talking about Mayan calendar, the dream spell calendar. She said it so simply, where she said responsibility, ability to respond. You recognize that you have an ability to respond, you take that responsibility, and the more you take that responsibility, the more you'll be in charge. And if we're talking about energy, you being in charge is a really beautiful thing. It's a powerful thing. That means that you have more charge behind your willpower, your power to will and manifest your reality, your life, which we all do to a certain extent all of the time. Universal Frequencies on YouTube was also talking about this yesterday, where he was saying that when you are this mentality of you want to save the world, and that will attract a certain kind of energy, and depending on how you treat that energy when it comes into your life is going to determine where you are and what else you keep attracting. So as an empath, you might be attracting a lot of people who need guidance but aren't willing to do it themselves, so they're looking for someone to do it for them. And then so there's these two different, and then you balance each other out in a way. I feel like the center, that harmony, we're always going to be moving up and down all the time. But the more aware you are, the more you can choose where you want to go. And sometimes you got to be the villain and let someone know that, listen, I care about you, I love you, but I don't want you, and I don't feel good anymore talking to you. I don't feel the same connection like I did before. I don't mind talking to you a little bit here and there, but I don't feel a desire to talk to you on the daily, for example. So it's really trippy, this human interactions and where we are. And as I was saying that, I feel like once you're here, you're in the sky and observing a situation, you have the potential and capacity to see it from multiple sides, not just from one side. Whilst someone who is more in a denser experience, more of life is happening to me, I'm the victim, someone needs to save me, will see it from we'll see it more from the ground, more from the personal and focused experience of life. When you talk to someone and you hear their response, it's very easy to hear where a person is within their own perception of their life. And sometimes you will talk to someone from up here, and them being here, their perception being here, they're going to respond from here. but I promise you that a part of them, their higher selves, the being of them that knows that because we're all connected to up and down. Like, there's no such thing as I'm a good person, you're a bad person. That doesn't exist. It depends on where you're catching me. You might catch me here one day and you might catch me up here one day. All depends. So when you talk to someone and you hear their response, the response is only a reflection of where they are, how they're perceiving the energy in that moment in time. But I feel I feel like an aspect or a energy of them is receiving what you're saying, and at some point in their journey they're gonna recognize that, or as an aspect of a part of themselves, of their being, hears what you're saying and respects you and loves you for what you're saying. So that's why I'm saying, in these times, if you're experiencing anything of what I'm experiencing, keep it as honest and speak from your heart. And just keep it as honest as possible, and don't feed into their energy. Don't go down to make them understand, because you're coming from here with your intention and with your purpose of why you're saying what you're saying, of why this connection is not working. The moment you bring it down and try to explain it from here, it's just going to become a fight, an argument, and I feel like that's not necessary. So I also want to say that in relation to what you're attracting, what kind of energy you're attracting, and centering yourself, I think Lucid Living TV was also talking about this in her last live stream, when she was talking about being centered, and that you can't always be centered. The life experience basically is a vibration. It goes up and down. And I also got this intuitive information where I'm just gonna share it, where it's like the world, the entire universe, galaxy, life is energy, and there's a certain amount of energy, and sometimes it's gonna be, the wave is gonna look like that, other times the wave is gonna look like that. And I feel like how I'm gonna connect this. I feel like where you choose to be chooses. I'm gonna come back to you guys about that another time, once I've grounded the information, because right now it's very up there. And again, also with the levels of information, I feel like this is also something I've just gotten this, I think last week, where it's like spiritual information, or spiritual perception, and then there's the mental, or I mean, I'm sure there's the more layers, but I'm just gonna make it short right now. Spiritual, mental. Also, I got this from Yoni Grace on YouTube, and emotional. There's spiritual, and she was talking about, Yoni Grace was talking about the heart space and the perception of the heart, almost in a way, through the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, and the physical. And as she was saying that, I got this like bell almost, that sometimes when you go into spiritual aspects, or you experience something spiritual, it's up here, and you feel it emotionally and you perceive it mentally, and then there's the physical aspect of it, where you can explain it in a analogy, for example, something that people can relate with physically. And so sometimes when you have a spiritual experience, you might not know how to explain it, because it hasn't been experienced either emotionally or mentally or physically yet. So sometimes when you have something spiritual, and when you have those spiritual experiences that just resonate with you, but you don't know how to explain it, give it time, give it space, create space and time within yourself, with different outlets to get it through that emotional body consciousness and that mental consciousness, or just pure consciousness, and then into the physical before you start sharing it with people. At least for me, I think that's gonna help me a lot, because I can get really excited and I want to share everything with everyone, and then they're just like, huh? And I'm like, yeah. So thank you so much for watching. Again, much love and appreciation to you all. Stay jamming, stay loving, stay living. Ow.